right, heated discussion here we are having with panelists who will be joining us shortly, or who have already joined us. They'll be joining us with their comments shortly after I read us out what the headlines have to say here this morning. Grab yourself a copy of the dailies. I have the Standard, the Daily Nation, and the Business Daily. As always, if you have the Star, the East African Review, and the People's Daily, let us know what the headlines have to say, and then react to what you're saying here. Let's start with the Business Daily. Why Kenyans do not earn interest on M-Pesa balances. Customers in other countries earn interest on their balances. Only Kenya has a law blocking interest earnings. Millions of M-Pesa and other mobile users in Kenya could be earning interest on their deposit were it not for a 2014 law that blocked it, making Kenyans the only one missing out on this stream of income in Africa. So if you're in Tanzania, Uganda, you're getting interest on the balance that you have in M-Pesa. That's the headline on the Business Daily, and they're showing an image of an M-Pesa agent service at a shop in Mamangina Street. That's the top story in the Business Daily. The Standard this morning, tough questions on Linturi claims fertilizer is good. Tough questions as Linturi claims fertilizer is good. Agriculture CS Mithika Linturi has for the umpteenth time said there is no fake fertilizer in the country. Maybe just 3,000 bucks here and there. However, he admits that, and farmers are telling a different story. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is telling a different story. And there's an image there of CS Mithika Linturi next to a bag of fertilizer. Not sure if it's fake or legit, but that's an image of him appearing before the parliamentary committee yesterday, answering the questions as regards to this latest scandal. The fake of it, what's true and what's not. The Daily Nation, the top story, Musalia to fold ANC in grand UDA plan. President Ruto's wish to have Kenya Kwanza parties fold into one political juggernaut ahead of the 2027 polls appears to be gaining traction, with the Musalia Mudavadi's Amani National Congress showing keen interest. But the move is likely to ruffle feathers in the DP Gachagua corner, even as Ford Kenya's Wetangula plays hard to get. And there's an image there of the four heavyweights of the Kenya Kwanza government: President William Ruto, the leader of the UDA party; Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, the leader of, we'll get to know, PCS Musalia Mudavadi, that's Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi, that is the leader of Amani National Congress. And then we have Speaker Moses Wetangula, Speaker of the National Assembly, who is also the leader of Ford Kenya. Gentlemen, welcome and good morning to Biashara Tuesday. Let's start with Kimani Wachira. Habari yako? Yes, good morning. It's been a minute.
A minute too.
Yeah.
And it's a cool morning.
Yeah.
We are receiving the morning showers after a solar eclipse, and we are happy to be hosted here to discuss and deliberate truthfully the state of our nation.
Yes.
I'm Kimani Wachira, the chairman Kiambu Youth Council. That is an embodiment of youth organizations that advocates, advance the youth agenda in Kiambu County.
All right.
Thank you for hosting us.
Okay. Looking good. I love your hat.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
My political signature.
That's your political signature. You always have a hat on. Let's go to Dennis Kimani. Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. Happy, actually, yes, I haven't seen you this year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, Happy Valentine's, Happy Birthday, Happy Easter,
Happy Fool's Day.
Friday, yeah? Happy Fool's Day. Yeah, I guess that's every day in this republic. But welcome back to the show. Unaendeleaje, bro?
Thank you. I'm well.
Yeah.
I'm grateful. I am so much humbled and happy to be here today for the state of the nation. A lot to be said, and I hope our sentiments and anything that we'll put on this table will be of help for Kenya and even the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even the world at large.
Yeah.
So I begin with the headlines here. What, who, and where, right? Those are the main things that we look at. What, who, and where. But let's start with who. Who is the editor of the Daily Nation? Because already we have agreed between the three of us that the headline on the Daily Nation, we don't need it. What do you have to say, Kimani?
Yeah. it's unfortunate that the editor in general at Daily Nation decided to focus on non-issues about 2027 politics, whereas Kenyans are anguishing in the, we said we have morning showers, but in some parts of the nation, it is flooded. We have Kenyans dying in road accidents. We have a lot of issues affecting the nation, doctor strikes, just to mention a few.
Yeah.
These are the things that I felt that are pertinent and should have been given airtime in the front page of our Daily Nations.
Yes.
It is too unfortunate that the political editor decided to view the state of a nation today in a political eye rather than a social eye. This is bringing back the political spirit in the nation, whereas we're supposed to be working and building our economy. Right. 2027 politics, well, is important, but then this is not the right time. Let us have such headlines in 2026, whereas these stories should not even be should be in the center pages where there are a lot of adverts and not in the front page.
Yes.
It is just, I think it is to be specific and truthful. Daily Nation today, you have let us down. We know you have the best editors, but today
they have failed us.
You have failed us.
For sure, they
you
do some good headlines actually, but today, ANC, how is Amani National Congress a point of interest at the front of the headlines? Dennis Kimani, what do you have to say there?
I think this, like how my friend has said about it, this is a 2027 vision. But again, I want to say, to tell the editor, you don't put somebody like deputy president there, because that is narrowing those people who are in that picture. All of them have parties, but only that guy it doesn't have anything. So why are we putting him on the question?
Yeah, so if you're talking
Nice
about
one.
parties, then he shouldn't be here actually.
It shouldn't
right?
be there. So these headlines should not be there. Should be actually at the back of the page.
Yeah, for sure. This should have been a backstory. I wonder what is the backstory. New school textbooks on the way in first CBC review. Senators threaten to starve governors of cash for snubbing summons.
Don't you see those are very important
Those
matters?
are important stories,
Yeah.
especially in Nairobi County, where apparently Governor Sakaja is notorious for not appearing in front of Senate committees, such as the Senate Public Accounts Committee, which issued a summon for him to appear for yet an umpteenth time to over questionable expenditure of 76 billion by the Nairobi County government between 2020 and 2022. But he hasn't appeared because he's outside of the country. Last time I hear when they summoned him, he was celebrating his birthday in South Africa.
He was in TikTok.
So, so those are the stories that should have been the priority. So can we say then that the Standard has it today?
Yeah, I would say that for the dailies, the Standard has captured my eye and also the listeners' eye, because tough questions, as Rinturi claims, fertilizer is good. Indeed, we all listened to Rinturi yesterday discussing about fertilizer, and we also know that what the president said yesterday, mambo ni matatu kwa to those people who are involved in this fertilizer scandals. We also know that the deputy president talked about 5,000 bags, whereas Rinturi is talking about 3,000 bags. So there is a tough question about all these scandals. And also, as a Kenyan, I'm asking this. Who is that person who is economically sabotaging our nation? Because if we don't have stable food baskets, then the prices of food is going to skyrocket in the near future. So those who are involved in these scandals, and Rinturi is saying that it's not good, it's not fertilizer, that we don't have fake fertilizers, but the farmers are giving a different narrative. And it's good that it deserves to be on this front page, and also it deserves to also have 4 or 5 pages inside, hearing to what the president said yesterday, to what Rigijis has been saying, and to what Wanjiku is saying, because he's the most affected. I understand that the president yesterday promised that anybody who is involved, who has been affected by this fake fertilizer, is going to be compensated. But my question remains, are we going to be transparency in doing that? Or we are also going to have other cartels in NCPD rewarding those who never bought those fertilizers? That is the question of the day.
Question of the day. Very important question there, actually, given that already the Kenya Bureau of Standards suspended 8 employees over the issuance of certification and marks of quality to 2 companies which are linked to that substandard fertilizer. And Agriculture CS Mithika Linturi is sticking to his gun, saying there's not much fake fertilizer, as you've heard there, just 3,000 bags. According to him, Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President, actually had said 50,000 bags only. So there's that breakdown in terms of communication.
Yeah.
Dennis Kimani, I have a question for you here regarding this, the fake of it all, right?
Yeah.
Government, the standard in page 6 is calling it government ping pong on fake fertilizer as MP's probe case. Before we get into that story, wacha nikosoe tena editor wa The Standard. We already dealt with the editor of the Daily Nation.
Yeah.
The Standard says this story is on page 4 and page 5.
Yeah.
But when you flip the pages,
Page 6.
it's on page 6 and page 7. Page
Yeah.
4 and 5, again, politics, and then an advert. So, ni kama kuna watu wamelala kazi. Editors wamelala kazi pale,
Maybe
pale
yes.
Standard, Mombasa Road na Nation. But,
Maybe it's the solar eclipse.
yeah?
But
The effect,
Some
the darkness.
visibility issues. Yeah?
I will
Tunawasamea
start it from where the Senator of Nairobi, Sifuna, started.
Yeah.
They were in a table with Kagusha some other day, where he said that half of the Kenya Kwanza MPs are confused, and it can really be shown in this fertilizer case, because from even the hierarchy of the leadership, everybody has their own data. Where is the data coming from? And this is a matter of urgency, because we see farmer number 1, the president of Kenya.
Yes.
Just the other day, we have seen him in his farm having good fertilizer.
Yes.
Why Kenyans, the typical Kenyans, why are they getting the...
I was trying to prove that there's no fake fertilizer, and as you can see, I am using it to plant.
I'm telling you, Richard, the people who are complaining about fertilizer are not at my age. Me, I'm doing compost. I don't know about fertilizer. The people who are complaining about fertilizer are elderly people in Kenya. There are people who have engaged with fertilizer not even for less than 30 years, 40 years. So these people know hii ni mbolea ya udongo. Why are you giving people stones? Food security will not be reached unless the government must be transparent with everybody. If we have to increase the food production, we have to turn the country from even the organic fertilizers to compost fertilizer, organic fertilizer. So there's a lot of things, and I think the government is really asleep.
What I wanted to note there is that this is quite a metaphor to the deliveries vis-a-vis the promises of the Kenya Kwanza government.
Yes.
I promise you fertilizer, I bring you donkey,
and the same
whatever.
fertilizer, they are not even buying it. It is donations from Russia. I don't know, they are selling it at high prices. It is fake. You see?
The president is saying that there are people who are out to undermine food production in the country, and it doesn't start with the Kenya Kwanza government.
Yeah.
As always, the Kenya Kwanza government problems don't stem from within. They all come from outside, either from the previous regime, which he was a part of, but now, even in food security, he says there are fraudsters, and he's going to deal with them. Kimani Wachira.
Before we talk even the fraudsters, today I also want to congratulate the broad journalist who brought this up.
Yes.
He's as broad as you, truthful as you, and unapologetic as you are.
Yes, thank you.
John Aran Namu. He's fearless. He's facing these cartels heads on. He brings back the spirit of Michuki, that things need to be done in an orderly manner.
Yes.
He went to the committee, tabled his facts, and most of these facts are in contrary with what the ministry has. In fact, the CS yesterday downplayed him and the entire African ancestry media because saying that this is a soil stabilizer. That's why they are saying that that's why the number differs. Because what we are calling the numbers that we are talking about, now the ministry is saying that no, those are not fertilizers. Those are soil stabilizers.
Yes.
But Wanjiko in Kwaregi village.
What are farmers saying?
That is what I'm talking about. Wanjiko in Kwaregi village. Collins KE in Nandi, where he plants maize, does not know the difference between soil stabilizers and fertilizers. If he goes to the government stores and asks for fertilizer,
they should be given fertilizer.
Given
a soil
stabilizer. He thinks it's fertilizer and applies it as fertilizer. So I want to directly speak to the it shows the failure in the government and in your ministry, to be specific, in not addressing and also doing civic education in terms of agriculture. Farmers need to know about those soil stabilizers. I in fact came to know of them yesterday or the day before yesterday. And I thought that every fertilizer is fertilizer. I didn't know we need to stabilize soil. And he's the guy from climate and agriculture.
Right.
Did you know about soil stabilizer?
I have never heard of that. I'm hearing it
Soil-
for the first time.
Soil stabilizers.
So if we who have gone up to what is considered the epitome of education, that is universities in Kenya, are not aware of soil stabilizers. What about a Mama Mboga, who is
Mkulima.
the backbone of this government? I think that we need to be tough, and not only tough on words, but on actions.
Right.
Yes, the president yesterday, as I finish, talked about mambo ni matatu. We need to implement the first mambo ya kwanza. Take this to court, people to court. Let them not be granted bail, because even though you are innocent until proven guilty, this is economic sabotage, and it's going to affect both the Kenya Kwanza and anybody else in this nation, Kenya Kwanza supporters and the opposition.
Yes.
Because this is economical sabotage.
I have to mention though, as according to Namu, who told the committee yesterday that these investigations began from 2018 and they span across from the Jubilee time all the way to this point. So refuting the claims that this isn't fake fertilizer beats the point of an investigation which has been running for the longest. However, a very interesting statement as we close up on that fake fertilizer story is Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei, who says that the overcrowding in these facilities is what has led to corruption and has led to infiltration of substandard imports, and that President William Ruto should allow this subsidized fertilizer program to run throughout the year, and so that people can go in few numbers. Anasema sisi ndio tuko wengi tukiendea hizi fertilizer hadi inabidi yule mwenye anatupatia ana fix in a stabilizer here and there. Now it's our problem. Now it's back to us. According to the KBS, Kenya Bureau of Standards CEO Esther Ngari KEBS, call it KBS, KEBS. KEBS CEO said that there had been a tip-off on 5,840 bags of fake fertilizer. And I'm imagining if these are bags of fertilizers whose tip-off has come up just around these past 2 years, from 2018 to now, how many years are those to mine? That's a lot of fake fertilizer moving up there.
The entire Uhuru regime, because he started 2017 on August, so just a few months to 2018.
So I got myself wondering if we've been having this issue from 2018 to this point, will it be possible that this is the direct cause of the kind of high prices we have on food products and food items in the country?
I'm still struggling to find the fertilizer news on the Standard. That's another
on the Standard.
Yes, on the Daily Nation. It is not there.
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
Wow.
I cannot see any.
That's a shocker.
But for that, I think let the country be serious, by the way, because Kenya is known, the main economic activity of Kenya is agriculture. And if the backbone of the economy, and if we spoil this, what do we expect of Kenya? Technology is something that is coming as a secondary thing, economy for Kenya. So if we become serious with agriculture, we are going back to the Singapore of 1978 when Kenyatta was dying. He left Kenya with a lot of food. So that is production is about the country. The only thing that the government can do, take doctors, veterinary, farmers to have doctors. They have good fertilizer so that we can produce a lot of food. When you go to Mathare, people are still dying of food. Even in the most fertile areas, we are still seeing people don't have food in the granaries. Why? What has come? Rains are here. People have not cultivated because they have not fertilizer. You cannot plant without fertilizer. You see, I think just to say and to request the government, let's be serious, kidogo.
Agriculture is our main source of income, and I'm imagining if I was the government and mtu aguze where I earn from the most, I will be all up in arms. This shouldn't be something that
And that's why you see they are on Okiya Omtata's neck, because he has touched where they have money, the treasury. We are coming to that.
I would say that even the ministry, the minister needs to apologize to Kenyans, because as we have said, and you have correctly mentioned that agriculture is not only for food production in Kenya, but we also export. And we have had some of these fake fertilizers that are used are affecting the quality of our exports. We saw that recently some of our avocados were banned. Is it because of what we are using as manure? They said they were not organic, right? You see, this problem
stabilized.
This problem is greater than we think.
Yes.
And it is unfortunate that the CS involved, who is also from our region, and we must talk it the way it is, the CS involved is just a joker. And in the words of Isaac Mwaura, which have now coming to I'm visualizing them, that the government or any government does not reward competence but royalty.
Yes.
We need to rethink about our priorities and about the individuals in ministries and departments. Because if you have a joker, and there's a man I know, and in fact, okay, I didn't campaign for him when I was in Meru, but I know him. We have met with him. When I call him a joker, I know he's a joke. The way he handles issues did not deserve him to have a seat at the cabinet.
He's a loyalist, as you said. We are rewarding loyalists, not competent people. Talking of incompetence, let's speak of living within our means. President William Ruto, while launching a 45 billion cement farm in West Pokot, and I have to say, coincidence or not, this is coming just after he signed into law the housing levy for affordable housing. But away from that, 45 billion cement farm is being set up in West Pokot. President William Ruto was there with DevKey Group of Companies chairperson, Dr. Narendra Raval, and mining CS Salim, who are pictured here in page 10 of the Daily Nation. And this was also accompanied by West Pokot County government officials, including Governor Simon Kachapin. A lot of remarks were made yesterday. Mambo Matatu, as always, seems to be the slogan of President William Ruto. Mambo Matatu ambayo yali show up in this conversation yesterday. One was that issue of fertilizer. We've already dealt with it. Two is to live within our own means, which touches on doctors. So I'll reserve the cement and the affordable housing conversation for last, which also includes that extension of term limits to 25 years. There was so much happening in just one launch of a cement factory. President William Ruto just came out with his whole journal for the month and laid out what he's been thinking. So first, he talked about fertilizer. Two, that we should live within our own means. And he's directing this to the doctors who are on strike. KEM, PDU, and clinical officers have been on strike. Doctors are now in their 27th day. They're going towards a full month of no services in hospitals. I saw sentiments from various hospitals across the country. Doctors have deserted the hallways. Patients have deserted the hallways kwa sababu unafika, unapimwa, unamaliziwa, unaambiwa sasa hii pati imebaki ya daktari, ngoja daktari atakuja after the strike. So President William Ruto has said that the doctors should live within their own means, that we don't have enough money to give them the amount of money that they are requesting. The other person who made a comment said that interns should be actually grateful that they are getting a job because it's better if you're paid less and you're guaranteed of a job later than be paid more and you have no job later. We should live within our own means. Kimani, are you living within your means? Are you living within your own means as we try and grow this economy?
Kenyans are known to famously be people who rushes on the last minute, and also they don't live within their own means. That is why Furiza, Tara, Branch, and Timiza going to national levels, China, we call them IMF. So it is our culture. So I also support the president in that. But then we need to ask ourselves questions. How did we get there? Is it that we don't have a saving culture? Is it that what is the problem? But now narrowing it down to what the statement was said.
Yes.
That is general comment about living
within our own means. As a country, we always should
live within our means.
Yes.
We don't need to have 50 CASs with peers, government machines. Even if I'm going to be appointed as a CAS, I don't need to be there if it is not effective.
Yes.
Back to
Isn't it funny that then the conversation doesn't start there if we are living within our own means?
That is where
I tend to disagree with my friend here, Kimani. Because he's saying we live on our means. Kimani, you are someone on a payroll. How you use your money, it does not depend on the doctors. Let me tell you, William Ruto is the one who should live on his means and make Kenya live on his means. How can you purchase an umbrella on 1 million, State House? Then you're telling doctors there is no money.
They should live within their means.
The CBA of doctors and teachers, how long is it?
It was signed in 2017.
Even since he was
Longer
a minister.
than fake fertilizers.
Yeah, even when he was a minister. So these are things that he knows. Telling a doctor to live on your means, that is unfair to him.
Money for sure.
Yeah,
because
to him.
If my father comes to the house and says, let's live within our means, alafu he walks in with an expensive watch, he parks his Rolls Royce, alafu aniambie wewe kula chakula ya jana.
That is really unfair. You see,
I said that was a general comment.
Yes.
I was coming and narrowing it down to ministers, to the health sectors. And we need to ask ourselves, is it that the nurses, doctors, clinical officers are on strike or the government? Because literally,
the doctors are saying they're joining the government in their strike.
It is the government that is already in strike.
Yes. Yeah.
Because the government has failed to honor the CBAs
from 2017.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have been a student leader. There is an angle I want to come from. I have been a movement leader. And I know when we are in negotiations, if the one I'm negotiating with, and when I'm the one who is negotiating or demanding for something, and it has egocentrism, we will never agree on anything. This brings back to the competence of the individuals in ministries. If Nakumincha had listened to the first intern call and not responded anyhow as she did, dismissing them, saying that we don't have resources, where are those resources that the president talked about? If we had a competent CES, we will not be facing these grievances we have today. Because she would have been able to handle the interns. I'll not talk about how much they are paid or not. I'll not talk about details. I'll talk about her character. Because that is what is causing us the 27th day, and tomorrow it will be 28th. If the president, and I'm sure he is listening, you need to either, one, reshuffle and get Nakumicha out of health, or even fire her. She has sabotaged your deliverables and your promises. You promised us good things in terms of health, but the one you put there is the one who is the greatest sabotager of your project.
Right. In the spirit of trying to have a conversation away from the egos, the president is saying, or the government on its side as a whole is saying, that doctors should also be accepting the terms in bits. Leo to agree kidogo, amesema release, they've cut down the expenditure from 4.2 trillion to 3.7 trillion, which means 500 billion has been taken off the table on what has been previously allocated to doctors. And it's funny because this is the amount of money that President William Ruto said he's trying to cut down from his expenditure in government. And he's taking it all from one ministry. That's a whole other conversation.
What I think about this, the conversation on this yesterday was something that should not have happened. In the first thing, the president went to assure that he was not supposed to be there. Because how can a government go and open a private farm? That is one thing. It's either there's something...
The vested interest
in this company, or there are other things that you are not being told.
I tend to disagree
again, before I finish, again, why is the CEO of Deviki is the one who is saying the president to go for 25 years?
That is another conversation that I support you. We cannot afford to make the mistakes that African nations are making. Yes, democracy may not have been the best clothes to dress Africa, but we're already in that dress. We are already in that cloth. We have to live with it. It has to cover our body. But then we cannot afford to be a nation that every time needs to change the constitution to favor a few interests.
Yes.
Going back to the president attending this occasion, in Kiambu and in Nairobi, I have a business in Nairobi. We do 3D printing at a building where I've rented. And that building was opened by Kenyatta. It is a private building. It is, we see even Joe Biden, Trump opening private investments just there as a courtesy. About interest or not, those are your personal perspective.
I want you guys to hold on to that for just a second before we get into the politics of 25 years. Let's finish up on the doctors. In Nyeri County and in Murang'a County, Nyeri has withheld the salaries of these striking doctors. In Murang'a County, the governor, yesterday speaking to one of the media stations, said that he will be giving them a very short window to return to work. There are 60 doctors. He will fire them and hire more. Which way for these doctors? I'd like to get one comment from you guys before we get to now DevKey, politics, and 25 years extension.
I'm even saddened by the numbers of doctors in Murang'a and Nyeri. If those are the people that are supposed to take care of the millions of Nyeri residents and Murang'a residents, I weep for my people. It is illegal, immoral, and unconstitutional for the government, which is leading the strike, to withhold salaries and remunerations for doctors who are on strike. Remember, health is covered in the constitution. I think the Bill of Rights, there is, after the Bill of Rights, there is one of the rights that we have as Kenyans is a right to the highest attainable health, anchored in our constitution.
Yes.
As a government, either the county government, you cannot withhold the payment of services rendered to claiming that this person did not render service, and you are the one who have not honored their CBA.
Yes.
Bona Governor Kangata and Mutahi Mwalimu, shame on you.
Right.
I think what I can say, now that I have an SDG championship badge, health is a key, not even a Kenyan priority. It is a world priority. I think these things that we are seeing the governors telling, what can we call it? Like they are telling them go back or else.
Or else, yes.
We'll employ others. I think it is time we have deliberate laws that cushion our doctors, cushion our teachers, because not every time we have a governor huyu amekuja kutafuta pesa yenye alifanya nayo campaign, then he comes public officers wanateswa. You see, it is not good. We have to like make laws that are permanent and stagnant for public officers.
Right.
Not taking them wavy every time we have new elections.
And also they are protected under the constitution. Every Kenyan has the right, I think, Article 35, to assemble, picket. So if you punish them for this, you are taking away an irrevocable right guaranteed in the bills of rights of any Kenyan citizen.
Right. And the right of an individual are greater than any freedoms, yeah? So whatever freedoms, whatever rights, the right of every specific individual are greater. Tuingie kwa mambo ya tatu. Mambo ya tatu ni kuhusu presidency. Tuanze na Narendra Raval, who's the chairman of DevKey Group of Companies. He said that he pays 2 billion in taxes every month, and that's how much in a year? That's a lot, but it's 100 million in a day. He pays taxes of 100 million, Bob, in a day. Wow. In the 2 billion, Bob, 1 billion goes to KPLC, and then 1 billion goes to normal taxes, pay as you earn, NHIF, NSSIF, hizo vitu za kila day za kawaida. And I'm not talking about the end of the year, taxes. That's good, that's fine, which means he has already let us know that he's making billions of Kenyan shillings in this republic. They were out there with President William Ruto launching a 45 billion cement farm in West Pokot. This, President William Ruto said, is going to be a good way for us to encourage local manufacturing, job creation, etc. It is coming just right after he ascended to law the housing levy, which is now it's no longer the housing law. So the housing bill is the housing levy now, for affordable housing. Let me just start with a question. Coincidence or not that we have a cement factory coming up right after tumetoka kusumbuana kuhusu affordable housing?
Yeah, that's a good thing. The last Rai's case was it either mambo ni matatu, either ukufe uende ama uende jela. But this thing at least naona there's something about
so
it.
unasema wakati alisema mambo ni matatu yani alituma hiyo message chini ya maji.
Chini ya maji.
Vile nilisema last time pia kwa huyu billionaire nimesema.
But I want to go to what the discussion, what they said about the elections and the constitution.
Yeah.
Before that, let me say
coincidence
it's
or
not
not
a coincidence.
Yes, coincidence
Why?
or not. Yeah.
It's not a coincidence. This company cannot be constructed within 6 months, 2 months. It started way in 2018. It's only that after finishing the construction, putting the because the infrastructure, it is not launching the construction.
Yes.
It is the launching of the production.
Yes.
So this thing has been in construction since 2018, 2019. It was only launched to start. It's not a coincidence.
Yes.
You can pick on
If
from.
you can pick on the
Okay, on the constitution, I am going to talk about Okiya Omtatah. This year, Okiya Omtatah said he has 2 objectives. Objective number 1 is chapter 7 of the constitution. Objective number 2 is chapter 12 of the constitution. Chapter 7 is about representation. Okiya Omtatah is saying he's going to work that we are going to work like Brazil. That we are going to have a digitalized way of election, that all the votes will go to one ballot. It is possible. It has been done in Brazil. Why? Because when we go that way, public participation will be easy. All projects will be seen and everybody will be putting their views on the site. It is possible because if they can digitalize and stream money to one account, why is it not possible to stream money votes to one ballot?
Yes, yes, President Ruto imepotelea njiani.
Yes, so
yeah.
Chapter 12 of the constitution is about public funds.
Yes.
Okiya Omtatah has said, and I don't have the points from the constitution, but I know it is chapter 12. I will read it and I will make it available. The national treasury must not be in the office of the finance in the executive. Why? Because judiciary, parliament, executive at par.
Yes.
There are 3 arms of government. No one is greater than the other. No one should have more powers than the other. The chapter 12 says the national treasury shall be an independent body, that everybody shall send their manifesto, their budget for financing. Why is Ruto not doing what President Ruto not doing what he wrote in the manifesto? Because now he has the national treasury in his pocket. He has gone away.
To have in your pockets.
Yes, he has gone away from the project.
Have that in my pocket.
Yes.
But he has gone away from all the development agendas that he had put in his manifesto. Now he's streaming money to one account, doing nothing. You see, I think Okiya Omtatah is being traced and in besiege because of this. And it is high time to understand that Okiya Omtatah is not fighting for, he's not against President William Ruto, because President William Ruto, not unless they change the constitution for 25 years, he's here to go and pass. We'll have another president. Are we going to continue suffering because the president cannot give the judiciary their money on time, cannot give parliament money on time, cannot give even nurses money on time? Because these are budgetary things.
Yes.
Everyone should write a budget to the national treasury. And I think that is a very important point everyone should understand.
All right.
About
Chapter 12 of the Kenyan Constitution speaks of public finance, including what Dennis Kimani has said there, so you can check it out for yourself.
About 25 years, it's an issue that is neither here nor there.
Yes.
I appreciate the editors for not including it.
Yeah, I think we have to commend them for that. It doesn't show as a headline in any of the stories.
It does not feature either in the front, in the center, or the end of any of the dailies.
Yes.
We need to. It's an issue that does not deserve our
It's a
airtime.
non-issue. Yeah.
Because as per law today, a president or any elected official is only guaranteed a 5-year tenure, and
2 terms
if
maximum.
the only guarantee is the one that you're already there.
Oh, yeah.
The other one is for Wanjiku to decide.
Yes.
Secondly, if you are not impeached, because that is what we forget, you are not even guaranteed even for those 5 years. Bwana Muhindi, you are talking about 25 years.
Yes.
Uhuru was not guaranteed for the 10 years. Ruto is not guaranteed even for these 5 years. We may decide to even impeach him.
But he's a good president. We want him for longer. We want
Good
him for
president on what?
Want him for
On what
30
purpose?
plus years, man.
No, you have
Good
never
president
said.
on what purposes? I have never
You are
said
now
that.
on record. You are now on record.
No, I am not quoting. That's not me. That's from one of the. That's from one of the.
Ruto is a good president.
The fear has gone. The fear is gone.
The clouds are gathering. That's from one of the members of parliament of West Pokot, actually, who said that it shouldn't be even 25 years. Alisema, hata mambo ya 25 for Chana, he should just rule. And if it's good, mbona mnakataa kitu mzuri? I'm asking you as a moderator. Mbona mnakataa kitu mzuri?
Hatujakataa kitu mzuri. Those who envisioned and wrote our constitution knew that power, you can get drunk with power. We need to limit the level of drunkenness.
Yeah.
I'm not talking only about the presidency. You know, if we just change the term limits of the president, that means that even the senators will say, we also deserve to go to a 7-year tenure.
Yeah.
The governor will say, we need to go a 10-year tenure.
Yeah,
we cannot change the basic structure of our constitution as per the Supreme Court ruling that turned down BBI.
And to add on that, on the Daily Nation, of my opinion, why I'm against the 25-year limit is because my own opinion is that the problem of Kenya is not because of the millennials, as Jay-Z's. It is because of our fathers. Those are the people who are now grabbing Kenya, who are now corrupt. But lessons from the Senegal poll for young Africans.
Yes.
Now we are having people like Didi Nyoro, who is being used like a the donkey carrot phenomenon. You are being put a carrot there, like a donkey. You can put a carrot in front of a donkey, and it will follow the carrot forever. Because it thinks it will get the carrot. Listen, ngoja nikwambie. If Didi Nyoro is the future, he should be talking about what we are suffering now. You should be talking about Mount Kenya now. Remember, Gachagua is not to anywhere. He came with the sweeters. When you go to Russia, the men who comes with the men, they find the lady with their men. But Gachagua came with those people. Who is he talking for? He never talks for Mount Kenya.
I think it is... you have stated well.
I love that. He's not speaking for Mount
we
Kenya.
need to go what other African nations are doing. Youthful leaders.
Yes.
But then, when we come to implementing the youth leaders, we start removing clothes on leaders who are trying to survive. You know, Kenyan's politics, you need a lot of money. Money that even Didi does not have, or even Rigiji cannot smell of, even getting near. Secondly, you need support from your people. Endorsements. And this is what we are calling a generational conversation.
Where do you need
it
money?
may not be Dindi, it may be you or him. But
Where
we
do you
need to
need
have
money?
a conversation about the youth taking leadership. It may not be Dindi who is going to be the next president.
So we
but
never
we can
have a youth. We'll never have a youth who is a president because we don't have money. If you put money in the equation, then
we must put
that
money in
that
the
is
equation.
how we fuel
Continuing a
corruption.
generational problem.
That's how Chepukati was bought with that money.
I would-
But then
I-
what
I
is
would
the
say
use of the
this,
money in our politics?
I would say this, for money is important, but you don't have to have that money in your pocket. You can be wise. Even you look at Senegal.
Do you agree
You look at
Didi Nyoro has
other.
voice?
Of course he does.
Do you agree Didi
He's
Nyoro has
the
agenda?
chair of
But
the budget committee.
gents, if we are picking a lesson from Senegal in terms of the young people getting into leadership, clearly it's possible to do that outside of that culture.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
It is, but remember, why did the young people do that? It's the Senegal story is equivalent to the Kenyan story. He was in Azimio.
Yeah.
People did not vote Raila because he was still in the government. He was voted not because he's young. He was voted because the preferred presidential candidate was not allowed to vie. And he's the current prime minister. You know, we are celebrating and we need to give credit where it's due. The president,
Sonko,
the
Sonko
current-
of Senegal, Sonko of Senegal,
Yes.
at one time was working with the
Current regime.
the
Previous
president who was removed.
Yes.
You see, they were working until they could not agree anymore. So Sonko had to go because he had the power to rescue Senegal. So Didi Nyoro, if he has the power and the willingness to rescue
Addressing
Kenya,
directly.
the willingness to restore Kenya, he should go for it now.
Go on his own path.
Si ati ambiwe, I will use you like a walking stick. I go for 10 years.
And then you kuachilia.
Alafu ni kuachilia.
I'll ask a simple
I will be of age.
Listen, we don't have much time. It's 9:52 in the morning. On the question of politics and power, we can discuss on and on and on. And I want us to wrap it up with just one comment each, because it's just 2 minutes before we wrap this up. On front of the Daily Nation, still hatukupenda hiyo story, lakini tuiguzie tu kidogo. The question of 2027 and the UDA plan. President William Ruto wants him again, still continues that conversation of, extension of power, kutawala zaidi. He wants UDA to become one party, and then all the other coalitions under Kenya Kwanza zifold, zote join UDA. And we are seeing here, as you said, sijui mbona Gachagua kwa hapo na hana party, but we have Musalia Mudavadi from ANC, who's very willing. Ford Moses Wetangula, who's been in the opposition for the longest, yeye amekataa, and play hard to get. What do you have to say on that as we wrap it?
Multi-party is something that was fought for with bloodshed and a lot of years of struggle. It costed a lot of lives for our Kenyan people and a lot of resources because business had to be closed down for sabasabas and stuff. We cannot afford to just append a signature to kill multipartyism.
Yeah.
Even if UDA wants to merge, let them do that, not under duress or sabotaging people or telling them that if you don't do this, this will happen. I know they're headed to the elections, and the question is, if UDA, Ford Kenya folds and Chama ya Prime Minister folds, and they have already elected individuals, would it not be good to wait for postpone the election so that all parties can be on board, so that you can do your grassroots election? But at the same time, I wish to also congratulate and also wish all the best to my members. I have friends who are vying in these elections. I also have friends who are vying in ODM. So generally, I wish to tell that all the youths who have risen and woken up, speaking truth to power and going to grab that power, all the best as you go to fight for your space in these political parties. It's not going to be an easy war. It's going to be a tough one. But I wish you all the best.
Right. I endorse that message. Youth men, take up this position and take up the chance to go to this party primaries, vie for position. Ingia pale kama sekjen, ingia pale, alafu tuanze hiyo change from within.
Me, I think I won't talk much about this. The patent issues now in Kenya is about the African Union. What do you think? Politics will change shape after Raila either goes to AU or stays back. So these are 2027 is not a lot. I think these people should be talking about how to help Raila Odinga become the African Union so that we can strengthen. But
so you're saying the question of 2027 can only be discussed after we know what happens to Raila.
Exactly.
Raila is the big cornerstone.
Yes, that is the politician. Again, to say on this, these people who are here, they are seniors to Sakaja. They are put on the front page, but the guy is on the back page. So let them advise, as they continue doing their politics, they remember that Sakaja is running a capital city. The city under the sun will only continue shining in the world, being an envy from the other cities if we create order. He came with a good theme. Lazima ita work, but it's not working. I will tell you why it's not working. Currently, he has refused to sign the handing over of City Park Forest to Kenya Forest Service so that we can rehabilitate the forest. That is one thing. The green spaces in Nairobi are the things that make Nairobi an outshining city all over the world. Again, not going to the Senate after the eyes on the NASA eyes on the corruption he has been doing with the advocates. That was a very bad thing because he faked a travel, and yet I saw the letter from the Auditor General. It came even 2 weeks before the report was out. So I think Sakaja is doing some things that are not good
for the capital
and seeing a lot of cases. Imagine someone who applied for a job in the county government, losing on being shortlisted, goes to the national to the Environment and Lands Court to complain he was not he never got a job, and then you see the amount of money Sakaja is paying to advocates, sums of 110 million
against someone who
lost a job.
Who lost a job worth 19,000 Kenya.
Imagine.
Right,
You see?
That's a lot, right? So there's much to do in the Republic, clearly. according to the stories of the day. Let's know what your thoughts are on social platforms. Guys, unfortunately, there will not be any comment that we can take in because of time, but just maybe one last statement on the state of the nation. Please make it as short as 10 seconds. Let's start with Kimani Wachira.
I'll use my time to maybe end with a quote from the elders. A man who focuses on beauty when marrying will end up, who only focuses on beauty when marrying may end up marrying a beautiful problem. I'm Kimani Wachira. After this, I'm headed to my business. Come support us. We do 3D signage at using Aruko board and other materials such as Colbert at Nairobi. Thank you.
All right.
As for me, I want to tell youths, Dedan Kimathi fought for Kenya when he was a youth. Wangari Maathai was fighting for Kenya when she was a youth. The only people who can bring change in this Kenya, it is youth of today. Please let us rise. We don't have to wait for 2027. Put your voice now. It is needed now. Please, let's wake up, youth of Kenya. Thank you.
Let me give a shout out to Shane Jane who brought me here and the entire Kimani Wachira family because they make me who I am.
All right.
The community.
Thank you very much for creating time here. Debbie Rono, great show. Always looking forward to newspaper review. KUTV. Ojwang Mariam is watching from Runda Inside. Asante sana for all those who tune into the show at KUTV Kenya, at Richard_Kenya is how you find me on all social platforms. Maybe let me compliment the quote that Kimani Wachira gave on marrying a beautiful woman. The man who marries a beautiful woman and the farmer who grows maize by the roadside have the same problem. Think about it. The back of the Business Daily has the last word. You cannot wish for both strong character and an easy life. The price of each is the other. You cannot wish for both a strong character and an easy life. The price for each is the other. Think about it as you go out your week. May your profits be high, may your jokes be higher, so they can laugh all the way to the bank. My name is Richard Okenya. I'll see you again.